What's up, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with NIO, Tesla SPY, and the overall market. I'm also going to talk about why tomorrow is going to be a very important day, once again, as we have the PCE data report coming out, not to mention new developments. But just note that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed 15, not to mention access to the Hong Kong markets. The offer ends in just 4 days, so check it out before they run out. Anyways, now let's talk about the market. So as far as NIO goes, we saw a nice gap up in a bounce today as we saw Jerome Powell give his message. The market held up, gapped up very, very nicely, only to start dumping after that. So nice little pump and dump like move was happening for NIO. And now we're going to be approaching our 20 EMA. If NIO loses this support, we could be dipping lower to fill this gap down here. If we bounce off this, we could try to rebound. Whether or not that happens will depend on some data. So I want to first talk about the data before I break down more charts. So what's happening tomorrow? Tomorrow's going to be Friday, September 27th, 2024. Please remember that 1 hour before the market opens tomorrow, we have the PCE data report coming out. This is going to be very, very important. Now, we're expecting PCE month over month to be at 0.1 to 0.2%, close to what we saw from before. And then for month over month for core, we're expecting 0.2% as well. For all items, we're expecting around 2.3 to 2.4%, so a little bit below what we saw from before. But then for core, we're expecting it to be the same. So we're expecting everything to be almost the same, if not a little bit lower. And I just want to say that whether or not we get that will depend on many different factors. Then at 10 o'clock a.m., we have the Michigan Consumer Sentiment Report, so we'll see what that leads to. But the main thing is going to be what we see with this PCE data. Now, when it comes to PCE, just know that this is heavily dictated by CPI, and the Fed does prioritize that. Right now, when we saw the PCE report, this is going to be a lot more reflected by what happened with CPI before. CPI for August was quite decent. Everything was aligned with expectations. There's a good chance that PCE could follow that trend, and that could help the market to some extent. On top of this, I just want to mention that when it comes to the Fed right now, there's about a 50-50 chance of us getting a 25 or 50 basis point cut. The market's still kind of in the middle. And greed is making up the majority of sentiment. There's still a lot of greed in this market. There's a lot of buyers who maintain their stances. The market's at extreme greed right now, so this is where you want to be a little bit more careful. That does not necessarily mean the market is done quite yet. The put and call option ratio is dipping right now, hitting extreme greed. This is putting us in a very, very interesting position. With that being said, let's talk about this. Costco just had its earnings, and they didn't do that great. They did beat on their earnings, but they missed on revenue, unfortunately. They missed on quarterly revenue, not the best of news, and they're trying to cut spending as much as they can, just trying to reduce costs and such. That's what their strategy is for the time being. So that's what they've been doing. If you look at this right here, they're looking at different um, strategies. They're basically hiking their annual membership fee, and they're also looking at other changes over there. And on top of this, their fourth quarter revenue was a little bit below expectations, which is why the share price is down, and guidance was so not bad, but because they missed on revenue, the share price is down just a little bit. Lastly, let's talk about NIO. So NIO is talking about their new models. We have the ET5 getting a lot of attention right now. It's very, very fancy, very, very nice for competition. But I just want to say one thing that's worth mentioning about it is that it's going to be very popular in many different markets, especially like in Europe. So I think it's very, very cool. I can't wait to see what else the future holds for it. But once again, very, very good game changer for NIO as they transitioned away from just SUVs to try to start in the sedan business. So that's been a very, very big leap for them. It's been going very, very well. Now, I just want to say that there's some big news that came out. Deutsche Bank is expecting NIO to give us at least 21,000 deliveries for the month of September. The data comes out in less than a week from now, so I can't wait to see what they announce. And they're saying that Onvo is going to be a big winner for them. So they think that with Onvo, that's going to help them reach around 30,000 as time goes on. So very, very interesting news. Very, very bullish. I can't wait to see how they end up looking for the quarter. JP Morgan has given NIO an overweight rating. Besides this, the price price ratio is still elevated, and we do have a tendency to be in green about 53% of the time on Fridays, so it's quite promising. We also tend to see more volatility around 11 a.m., 1 p.m., and also during the second to last hour of the day. And lastly, we had about 139 million in volume, so it's well above average, which is a very, very good sign as well. So good signs for at least us moving forward. Now let's just focus on what the charts are telling us. This is dipping right over here, so whether we get a bounce will depend on the PCE report. The market has potential to rebound, but look at 5.6 as our support. If we lose 5.6, we're at risk of dipping all the way down to about 5.3. If we hold 5.6, we could be trying to bounce back up towards $6. There is potential for an uptrend to continue. I think that the chart's looking pretty good, at least for NIO, but we'll have to wait and see how things end up going from here. But I do believe there is more upside potential, at least for NIO moving forward. We could dip and then try to rebound off this, and we'll see how things end up progressing. I think the odds do favor upside, at least for the chart, as long as you don't lose 5.6. We could dip a bit and try to bounce off our 20 EMA. That's going to help us push back up to 6 for tomorrow. Whether or not we get that depends on PCE, but so far it's looking promising. Excuse me. For SPY, we're holding our key support right now. This is our 20 EMA. As you can see, we touched this and then rebounded. If we get a decent PCE tomorrow, we could be looking for all-time highs. And if we lose 570, we're looking for 568 and 565. Overall, because we held support, the odds favor the upside, but we'll see depending on PCE. For ES, we need to hold our 20 EMA as well. 57.91 is the main support. If this holds, we're looking for a big push for these higher levels, and we look more bullish thus far. So this does favor the upwards direction. So we'll see if we continue to push. And that's going to be very, very key for how we end up moving when PCE data comes out. But we still look more bullish as long as we don't lose that support. Nvidia has support around 122 and 121 below that. We'll see if this holds. In my opinion, I think there's a good chance we could dip a little bit more before it tries to rebound. This will depend on PCE, but there is potential as we have a nice bull flag forming. And we have this nice accumulation, so it could dip a bit and try to rebound. Doing a good job so far. For Bitcoin, we look more bullish. We're looking for a test of 66,000. We'll see if that breaks or not. We have support at 64,000, followed by 63,000, but this chart looks more bullish. So we'll see how things end up going. For Tesla, we look more bullish if we could try to hold our key supports. So we have basically 252 and then 250 is our supports. And then if we lose 250, we're looking for 248 followed by 244. It is possible we dip a bit. We'll see if we dip or not, but I think that there is potential for a rebound if we get a decent PCE, so long as there's no bad news. As long as we hold 250, this could try to make its way back up towards these highs again. And there's no sign that Tesla's done quite yet. For NQ, we're holding our 20 EMA. As long as we hold 20,200, we're looking for an attempt to get back up to about 20,400 to fill that imbalance. If we lose 20,200, we're looking for 20,000 again, but this looks more bullish. The QQQ looks more bullish as we're trying to bounce off our 20 EMA. If we lose 485, we're looking for 480. And if we hold this, we could be looking for a rebound back up for 493. There's potential for us to try to push on NQ. So we'll see if that ends up being the case. For Aapl, we look more bullish. If we try to hold our 20 EMA, we're looking for a pushback up for 230. And if we lose 226, we're going to be dipping back down to 225. It looks more bullish. I think 230 is a strong possibility, so we'll see if that ends up being the case. But so far, we're doing a good job. For the IWM, we look more bullish. If we break past 220, we're looking for a push all the way up to these highs. If we lose 218, we could be dipping back down to fill this gap. We're in the middle, so we have to give this time to see which way it breaks. It does favor that it wants to bounce, though, looking at the 4-hour, but we'll see just to be safe. For Coinbase, we look more bullish. If we break past 180, we're looking for a big pump for that 182 target. And if we lose 178, we're looking for a dip back down towards 173. This chart does look more bullish. It's favoring that it wants to go up to about the 182 to 184 area. So we'll see if that ends up being the case, as we have potential to bounce after PCE comes out. For Amazon, we'll have to see if we end up losing 190 to turn bearish for 188, or if we break past 192 to turn more bullish. Otherwise, we're just range bound between 190 and 192. So we'll see if we get a bounce. I'll be very patient with this, but there is most definitely potential. For Meta, we've been dipping a bit. We'll see if we bounce off 563. If that holds, we're looking for a big rebound for 570, eventually much higher levels. If we lose 563, it could be dipping, but because we're holding our 20 EMA, this could try to rebound, and 570 plus becomes a stronger possibility. For Microsoft, we're looking for an attempt to push even higher. I think we could be looking for basically 434. There's a good chance we try to achieve that, so we'll see if that ends up being the case. For Google, we're trying to rebound. If we break past 165, we're going to be pushing back up towards 166. And if we lose 163.5, we could be dipping back down to fill this gap towards the lower levels. I think we could be pushing towards these higher levels like 165, so we'll see how things go. So be very patient, and there's nothing to worry about for the time being. However, I do see a head and shoulders, so it could go either way. It's very indecisive right now, so I'm going to be open-minded with this one. So give this the time it needs. As far as NIO goes, this has upside potential as long as we try to hold 5.6. If we lose that tomorrow, we dip lower, and we could be filling the gap to 5.3. But as long as we hold this, we could try to bounce as well back up into the sixes. So we'll see which way we go. I think there's potential in NIO, and we'll see how important it is to be very patient. So we'll see what happens with PCE data. It's going to be a very important day. With that being said, I thank you all so much for listening. Please have a great day, and I'll see you guys very soon tomorrow for another update. Thanks again, and peace out.